to help increase their capacity and how they can make more income. Because whether we agree or not, this sector actually contributes a lot to economy. So we also need to change our educational system. What the world is requiring right now in terms of knowledge is really not what we are learning in academic institutions. I mean, you learn certain languages, you learn certain courses. They are very important, but are you taught critical thinking? Are you taught entrepreneurship skills? How many universities have a department or a faculty that deals with entrepreneurship, skills and helping people to know how to raise funds? How many government programs are actually very sustainable and scalable that helps young people get into, entrepreneurial businesses, get support from the government, scale to other parts of Africa? How are we even cross learning? Young people in Nigeria who are doing great, how are they, taking outside the country and, helping every other person, to learn what they do? So, I mean, the last person who talked about China helping their own people know that there are opportunities in their countries. Yes, because they have policies to support it. They have ease of doing business. I don't know what they call it in their country, but they have policies and systems in place to support young people. If you have policies and you don't have systems, you get failure.
And I will have to agree with my sister here concerning about my antecedent there about the poverty issue. Like she said, after all the natural resources which are here for us, the young people are not benefiting from them. When it comes to construction works and these huge buildings, they contract these foreign companies to come. They only give us the manpower, where we will go and work hard and suffer. At the end of the day, we earn little, which will not sustain us. Simply because these vocational trainings are not supported here in Africa, especially my country in the Gambia. Most of the youths don't have skills. All they were trained is to take them to school, have good results, and apply for job, only to get job. That's the main reason why we go to school, which I see is not fair, because we don't only need job, but we need things that will sustain us and develop our people and ourselves, but not just to secure a job. So I think our governments, especially the AU, should help in that sector to make sure that a lot of African youths are trained in high skills, so that they can also compete with those foreign companies when they are to come here, and the underemployment. But like I said, I didn't have those who were speaking Portuguese. But based on my experience on this irregular migration, when I reached Agadez, I found out that almost all the African countries, all of them are in that country trying to proceed to Libya, to Europe. And we all know that there is death, plenty of death, from the desert to the prisons, to the Mediterranean Sea. But that is not stopping us from going. Why? Because what is pursuing us is hotter than what we are to expect there. Yeah.
My question is, how do we break the cycle? How do we break that cycle? It is nice to say Africa is not poor. It is poorly managed. My friends, my colleagues, Africa is poor because of that, as you were saying. It is nice to say, my friend, our people out there, they live in a dire conditions. You are the African young leaders. You are the African young leaders. How do we break that cycle? How do we break that cycle? These years, an example, there were elections throughout Southern Africa. the voter turnout was less than 45%, with the youth contributing far less to the potential. How do you want to break the cycle? This is the question I throw back to you guys. Another set of 5 questions. If you want to make a comment, make it concise comment. You are the first.
Thank you so much, Professor Adriano. And I was supposed to be on the first 5. And what you have just stated right now is actually the solutions to most of the things that we are talking about here, about the irregular migrations. The question we should be asking ourselves is, why are we even having this meeting moderated in English? Why are we speaking languages which are not for Africa? The question here is Portuguese, are we Portuguese? Are we English? These are the things that we need to talk about, the hard things that we need to talk about as Africans. So we had a lot of elections, yes. So how do we make sure that elections are not just elections, are not just for the old people? How do we make sure that we young people who are in this room go back and mobilize young people to participate in politics? Because all these things are all connected to politics. So how do we make sure that young people take up offices to go and change the policies and make it lucrative? How do we say that, okay, our education system is failing when we're not actually participating? If you go to some of these universities, the teaching assistants are young people who are below the age of 30. So if the teaching assistants are young people who are below 30, why don't you change that? Why don't you use that opportunity to actually instill in the young people the mindset you want them to have? The issue is here in the brain.
Thank you.
They tell us that there is God. When the God is in our brains, the heaven is in our brain. Why can't we use our brains and also make Africa glitter and glimmer like what the continent we're running to? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna talk in English, in French.
Yes, sir.
Merci de m'accorder la parole. Moi aussi, je voudrais parler des solutions durables que nous sommes venus chercher ici, et particulièrement à ces effets des causes profondes qui fait qu'il y ait des migrations forcées, des mouvements forcés à l'endroit surtout des jeunes. Si je rejoins mes confrères et sœurs, moi aussi je suis de leur avis que le problème majeur est lié à la pauvreté qui secoue la jeunesse africaine. Et comme proposition, et surtout une recommandation qui pourrait aller à l'endroit de l'Union africaine, c'est que souvent vous nous appelez ici pour débattre ou chercher des solutions à des problèmes qui sont déjà en place, au lieu de nous appeler ici pour proposer des solutions à ces causes profondes qui font que ces problèmes éclatent. C'est ce que j'ai dit depuis hier. Plutôt, donnez-nous un cadre de proposer à l'avance des mesures préventives qui feraient qu'il n'y ait pas ces mouvements forcés. Voilà mon intervention.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, you.
Thank you. My name is Wilson Chivanga. I'm from Zimbabwe, but staying in Malawi. I have stayed in I don't know how many African countries over the past few years. And in every African country that I go to, I'm a foreigner. Now, I think the other conversation around migration is, I think we talk about migration a lot, going outside of Africa, but internally within Africa. Yesterday someone talked about the black on black violence in South Africa that we are seeing, the Afrophobia that we are seeing. And I think one of the critical conversations that we now need to have is around how do we identify ourselves as Africans and how do we view each other? Because much of what we are seeing in terms of migration, it's within the continent. Young people are moving, are being forced out of their countries due to various reasons to other countries within the continent itself. But then in every African country that you are going to, I find it weird that I have to get a visa to come to Kenya, to go to Kenya, and a European from some other country doesn't need a visa to go there. I find it very weird. I find it weird when I go to another African country, being an African myself, and the police will ask me for my papers, but they will never ask an Indian, a white man, where their papers are. It's ridiculous. So I think the conversation has to be around that. Why do we hate being black and hate each other because of that?
Thank you. But remember, you're a foreigner here. Don't use strong language, yeah? Okay, yes.
Thank you a lot. I want to highlight what my brothers have talked about. Because if I have listened well, they have mentioned poverty as a major root of this illegal migration. But remember, there are three kinds of poverty. Material poverty, there is moral poverty, and intellectual poverty. So if we want to dig deeply and find a solution, we have to work on these three acts. My question is this: what solution are you proposing to these three kinds of poverties? Thank you a lot.
Yes, the last.
صباح الخير عليكم جميعا. سأتحدث باللغة العربية. أنا عز الدين القيبوس من المغرب، عضو بمجموعة العمل الرئيسية للأمم المتحدة للأطفال والشباب الأقل من 30 سنة. أنتم تعرفون أن المغرب منذ سنة 2014 وهو يعتمد على سياسة وطنية للهجرة واللجوء، ويعمل الباب المفتوح لاستقطاب المهاجرين الأفارقة سواء مهاجرين شرعيين أو غير شرعيين، ويوفر لهم بطائق الإقامة ويحاول إدماجهم في المجتمع بأي شكل من الأشكال. وتحول الكل يعلم أن المغرب تحول من منطقة للعبور للديار الأوروبية إلى بلد للاستقبال. لكن ألا ترون أن مشكلة تزايد عدد المهاجرين بإفريقيا يؤثر على صورتنا كقارة بشكل كبير؟ لكن السؤال الذي يطرح نفسه بقوة: كيف يمكننا جميعا كدول وكشباب مؤثر في صنع القرار بإفريقيا أن نساهم في تقليص حجم ظاهرة الهجرة؟ والكل من المشاركين يجمع على أن القارة الإفريقية تمتلك موارد هائلة، لكن ما زلنا نعاني ضعف من التنمية، وهذا مشكل كبير بالنسبة إلينا. والمشكل الآخر كما قال زميلي هناك أننا ما زلنا تحت سيطرة الدول العظمى التي استعمرتنا لقرون وقرون وما زالت تستعمرنا بطرق أو بأخرى. شكرا لكم.
Thank you so much. I will ask you, I'll give you a minute and a half to wrap it up, take some of the questions, and really your main messages to the audience. The same to you. Minute and a half, take some of the questions and the main messages, speaking to the theme of our panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions and contributions. I do, agree that as a continent, we should not, be having barriers in terms of travel, because what he said, I actually, saw it, and I was a bit perplexed myself that, someone else would not require to get a visa to an African country, but I from Nigeria, I'm looked at in a very certain, not nice light in terms of traveling across. But importantly, as young people, like he asked us, what can we do to create awareness, about irregular migration. And just to put some context into the irregular migration, we're not only talking about people who are traveling from their country of origin outside or to European countries. It also contains people who get visas and overstay their permit, or those who seek for asylum in certain countries and their request is not granted, and they stay back in those countries. So those are the different categories of irregular migrants. But with that being said, I work with a group of returned migrants in Nigeria who actually go into communities to create awareness about, opportunities at home, how, when they went, what they saw, now that they are back into the country, what they can do by themselves and how they are making it. And a lot of people, who they have engaged sort of have a better understanding of the reasons why we need to stay back and try to make it here in Africa, though the system is very hostile towards that, but we can still, create a cycle, a social system that works for us. But importantly, as young leaders and, people in politics and in parliament, we can't keep asking that young people, migration is a right, absolute right, and people need to travel. But we can't keep saying people should not travel if we're not creating a very conducive environment, if our policies are not practical. Sometimes we have policies on paper that look very nice, but then there are no strategies in place, there are no accountability measures, monitoring and evaluation to know the impact of, these policies in the lives of young people. Like someone rightly said, in terms of politics, there's something called Not Too Young to Run in Nigeria, where young people were asking, to run as independent candidates. But while that has been passed, in practice, most young people who want to vie for political positions need to get a political party to support them. You need to be part of, a political party in Nigeria for you to run. And while that is okay, we need to create a system where young voices are actually on the table. We can't just keep coming to dialogues. We want to be a part of those that frame those policies that affect us. We want to be a part of the implementation process. If you see most committees, or maybe youth issues or gender issues, you see people who are much older than the age of 35 and 40. Where are the young people you're representing with those policies and systems? We do need to bring young people on the table, create a safe system for them where they can earn, they can feel safe, and irregular migration is not an escape strategy. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for all those contributions. I will start with the not too young to lead or to run for presidency or any kind of position. But most of the time, as a young person, young leader, if you always speak for the rights of the people, of the masses, you are always labeled as radical or enemies of progress. So that also, discourage most of the youth to enter into politics when they should be listen, And my group, Youth Against Irregular Migration, we embark on a series of awareness raising of activities since we have the first-hand information, and it is the first time Gambia to have that kind of groups. Now we have many, but before, as a returnee, you are always stigmatized, labeled as losers. You can barely go out or associate with your family or friends. But now, with the coming of my group, returnees never feel ashamed. We are always proud of our experience and proud of where we come from. So we conduct weekly radio programs where we volunteer our time just to inform the people the effects of this irregular migration. We don't only stop there, but we go to schools and communities across the country just to engage the young ones, the elders, the parents, and the authorities to know what the youths are facing out there when they want to embark on this journey. And from 2017 to date, the number has gone down. But like he said, we need something on the ground to convince them to stay. But if we are discouraging them and nothing is there for us, because I will not say them, but we are all living in the same situation. If nothing is there for us, it will be very hard for us to stay, because the time we were coming, we were 171, and I can tell you almost 50 of them went back after experiencing all those horrors. So which means that they didn't believe that they can make it in their country. And that's why the government, the authorities should really help us in terms of, building our lives in our home, because there is no place like home. The love that you can feel in your country, you can never have that in someone's land, especially in a land where you don't know nobody. And African Union also should really help us to make movement around Africa to be easy for us. Because even in West Africa, if I am to go to certain countries, in Ivory Coast, I was there, I had transit almost 12 hours there, but they didn't allow me to go out. They said, because I need a visa for me to go out. And I told the man that I think ECOWAS protocols permits me to stay in ECOWAS state for 90 days. But the man told me that that law didn't apply here. I was really shocked, because I believe I should move within West Africa and Africa freely without facing any challenge. So thank you all, and I thank the AGA Secretariat for making this platform and for bringing me here just to share my experience and to learn from the people here also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, my panelists. I come from Mozambique, from the southern part of that country, a province called Gaza, where literally every man had to travel to South Africa looking for a job in order to get money to pay lobola. You know what lobola is? So if you want to get married, you need to pay lobola. And to get that, you had to go to South Africa to work in the mining sector to get the money and come back. Not only come back with the money, but also with radio, with a motorbike. So economic reasons have always been there as the driver of migration, and in the context of the youth, of irregular migration. Things have changed though, because most of African countries have failed to transform. And with extractivism taking place in our countries, that is driving the young girls and boys to seek opportunities in the cities, and because there the opportunities are so small, then they travel to other countries. You mentioned, I would like not to encourage that perspective, that social media drives irregular migration. Social media is a powerful tool for improved governance in our countries. We have to seek ways as young girls and boys of making better use of it as driver of better governance. Of course, it is used for ill purposes, but I think transparency, accountability, and participation can be improved with social media. So on that note, a positive one. I would like to thank you, my panelists. Thank you, the audience.
Of the meeting time. So I think it's always good to have a professor among us. So please let's applaud the professor once again and his members of the panel. African Union, and probably you are aware, that has introduced recently a number of initiatives. Among them is the African Continental Trade Agreement that came into force which opened the borders between African countries for free trade. I think so far we have about, if I'm not wrong, maybe my colleagues can correct me, about 33 or more ratifications of this particular protocol. This is one. The African Union is also advocating for another protocol to allow for free movement of persons between African countries. And also the African Union has introduced another initiative, which is the African passport. So hopefully, and this is our hope, that by 2025, all the borders between African countries will be opened for African citizens to freely move between African countries with an African passport. This is, of course, as part of the implementation of Agenda 2063. Please try to visit the African Union website for more information on all of these three programs that I have mentioned. Now, we'll move to another part of the Africa Talks series, and we have Fatou Jagan, who is the president of the Network of Girls Against Human Trafficking, who will be sharing with us her experience within the next 15 minutes. Fatou, you have the floor, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it morning or afternoon?
Afternoon. Afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Okay. My name is Fat Jain. I'm from the Gambia. I studied pharmacy in the University of the Gambia. I was trafficked in 2015. I was sold by a cousin's friend. But before that, I want to say that we are African. The Africa we know. We have to love Africa. And Africa we want. I went to Asia. I suffered a lot. And I want all of you to hear from me and send these informations, sensitize our people. Once again, my name is Fat Jain, the founder and the president of Network of Girls Against Human Trafficking. And I can say that in Africa, majority don't know what is human trafficking. They don't know what is human trafficking. They're just hearing about migration, back way, but they know nothing about human trafficking. Our young people are being trafficked every day, every second, and every minute. Just yesterday when I was coming, I came with other nationalities, African nationalities in the airport. At Ghana, I was trying to discourage these girls. I was trying to discourage these young people. But they refused. I was jailed. I was tortured. I was maltreated. I was abused. I cannot come back to Africa and keep quiet. No. I said I studied pharmacy in the University of the Gambia. I was trafficked by a cousin's friend to Kuwait. Arabs, most of these Arabic countries, they don't take blacks as human beings. But we have to know that we are humans. We have to be ready. This is not about tribalism. My talking is not about racism, no. This is about Africa. Let's believe in ourselves. We have to. Africa. I leave Africa and go to Asia. That was the time I know. We have whatever it takes to develop Africa. We are not poor. We have it all. But how can we implement it? That is the problem. We just believe that those people can give us their ideas. We have brilliant ideas. We have so many things in us. We need to implement it. We need to implement it. We have so many things, we have everything, but so many things are lacking behind. Why young people are going? 99% is our government. If I have what I want in my country, I will not leave. If I have what I want, I am not going. I'm a well-trained dispensing assistant. But when I leave my country, it's because it was very hard for me. We have a dictator. You don't have enough salary. The salary, you cannot use it for 1 week to pay transport. I'm not talking of eating food or giving your family. And if you don't go to work 2-3 days, you end up seeing yourself in the prison. You don't know what you will do. If you have those chances and someone said, I will help you, and they will pay you $50,000 or almost $1 million, is obviously you are going. You are going to support your family. My siblings are 11. I know my mother after 22 years. I was adopted by my namesake. I was maltreated, I was tortured when I was young. Africa, the culture of silence. We need to talk. It's the right time we need to talk. But because we are saying we are Africans, don't talk. You don't have to talk. You don't have a voice, especially females, young girls. They are really suffering. I spent 1 year, some months in Kuwait, but what I see in Kuwait, it pains me a lot. Not only in Kuwait, in all these Arabic countries, most of these Arabic countries, there are Arabic countries. They are Africans and they hate Africans. They don't want to belong in Africa even. I see them. I meet them. These Arabic countries, they believe in their people. You know, when I leave Gambia and go, sorry, let me put this down because I have my experience. No need to take this. No need to read this. When I leave my country and go to Kuwait, I take transit. When I reach to Kuwait, they seize all my documents with me. And whatever I was having, they take it from me. In the airport. When we reach, I went with other nationalities. They put us in a very small place. And in that small place, they start insulting. There are some Arabs here. They can understand what I said. Haywana, Zibala, Zegge, into Haywana, into Zibala. Bad insult. After then, when I learned their language, I know that they were insulting. They were pushing us. They were harassing us. They take our documents. They will tell you, you came here to suffer. Don't you know that you are a slave? We buy you. And you know what? The money they buy black people, they got, like, if Filipino comes, they can buy you in $1, but example, I'm just giving an example. But African, they can buy you $500. And that $500, it means that you are going to work for 24 hours without no rest. No sleep. Like, they will be maltreating you, they will be punishing you. I see a lot. We see a lot as young people. When we reach in the airport, for more than 12 hours, no food, no drink, no water. They're shouting, pushing, harassing us. They will tell you, there is this agents who will come and call your names and take you. Call your names and take you. Okay, when the agent comes to take us, me and other 2 Gambians, I ask him this question: where are you taking us? Where are we going? Because I like asking questions. Because before I go, before my cousin sister take me to Kuwait, I asked her because I was hearing from people. These people, when they take you, they sell you, or you go, when you went there, you go and do prostitution. I asked her, but I just believe in her because she said, you know, I will not do that. I'm just like a family, and I believe. And what I have in the Gambia cannot sustain me. That's why I go to help my people back home. When you reach in the office, they have an office where they sell human beings. An office where they sell human beings. And the black one, if they see you, oh, they can buy you for how many thousands of dollars, they don't even care. But when you go, you suffer a lot, because they will be having these story buildings, 8, 9, 10, 15 story buildings with too many families there. Only you will do all the jobs, clean the whole compound every day, clean the whole room. They will have this kind of lamp with this diamond stones. You will be cleaning it. You will clean. You never know electric before. You will be the electrician. You will be everything. You will be. If anyone have 18 years in that compound, will have a car. You will be cleaning the house. They will bring these pipes. They will just plug it on the top and just put water the whole compound just to punish you, so that when you finish your 5 or 3 years, you cannot sustain yourself again. You will not be a normal human being. You will not eat good food. The food they will give you is the food that they don't need again. They will tell you, if you want to eat, go and take that food, and if you don't want it, just remove it and throw it. What kind of human beings are these people? And they say they are Muslims. This has nothing to do with religion. That's what I want people to understand. This is not the Islam I know. This is not the Muslim I know. This is not the Christianity I know, because all these our religions calls for peace. Islam means peace. Christianity, the same thing. It has nothing to do with religion. It's just their culture. And please, my African people, let's help each other. Let's support. Let's love. Let's accept. Let's sit and discuss. We can develop our Africa, and we are the only one who can develop our Africa. I was jailed. I witnessed they killed 3 people in front of me. They will hang you in the jail. They will hang you. There was an Ethiopian who was killed, which I witnessed. She finished her 3 years contract. She wanted to go back home, and the boss said, okay, because you are good to my family, then I will take you to a restaurant. She poisoned her without knowing. Before she reached Ethiopia, she died in the flight. Just recently, not long ago, there was a Gambian who was killed by her boss. She worked for 1 year. She works for 1 year. She was killed. They brought the dead body with no money. Our government don't do anything. I was about to be killed, but I said, when I am going to die, I'm going to die for human rights. I was not afraid of anything inside that jail, because I already know that I was having that belief that I'm going to die. Then I have to fight for my people. I have to fight for the world, and I have to fight for humanity in humanity. I was very, very stubborn inside that jail, because I know it's the end of me, and we have to do something. I never know what is activism before. I never ever know what is human right before, because I don't research on it. What I know is to study pharmacy, to do my pharmacy job, go and dispense, help the sick people. I really love my job. And when you see me in that place, you love it. But now I decided that I am not going to do that. I am going to be a human rights activist. I am going to fight for my people. It's not because I don't love my people and I don't want to help them. Yes, I still love that job, but I think young people needs us. Young people needs us. We need to talk. The silence, the culture of silence needs to be break. And how are we going to break it is through us. Through belief in ourselves. Through know that we can do it. Through accept, appreciate, and love each other. This is why other countries developed. They take it from here. They take it from here. Now they develop. And they say they're helping us. No. We are still having it, but we don't know how to take it. They're pretending that they are helping us, but they came to take it and go with it. They are still coming to take. They're still coming. Young people are still going. As I am talking to you today, right now, there are thousands of Africans who are living. Thousands and thousands of Africans who are living. How can we stop that? We really need to sensitize our people. In all these social media platforms, local and international. Through Facebook, technology is advanced. The world is advanced. When I came back, I have nothing. My family asked me to go out because they don't want me to talk. Because I decided inside the jail that I promised God that when I go, I don't know, but I will make sure everyone in my society, in the Gambia, Africa, the world at large will hear us. Our voices need to be heard. In Africa, people don't want to talk. It's the right time to do. Let's try. Let's help. Let's appreciate. And if you need my card, I'm having my card so that we can communicate more, because it's a very long story. I can stand here for 5 years without stop, and I cannot finish this talking. Thank you, AU. Thanks to you. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to attend this.
Thank you very much, Fatu, for sharing your experience, an emotional experience indeed. And this is, of course, a call for African youth to think twice before deciding to leave the continent, before you migrate to anywhere, the Arab world or Europe or America or elsewhere. I think there is no better place than home. There is no better place than Africa. So it's a call for us to think before we decide to leave our continent. Now it is 1:20 or 20 past 1. We'll break for lunch. Unfortunately, we cannot afford having a whole hour for lunch. So you will be tested again as youth to see if you can finish your lunch within 45 minutes. So we can be back hopefully by 5 minutes after 2. Please try. And let's see if we can achieve this goal of coming back within 45 minutes. Bon appetit, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yes, you understand why you were insisting. Now you know, Adrian. In the 7th house. I said buy it. I will kill you today. No. The reason why you needed to direct her to stand, you were not directing. You were telling her to move here, to move there. You needed to be clear. People are not. I can't deal with you right now. Oh, no, it's okay. I'll deal with him. He knows.
Thank you. Can you, I will send you, okay? So yeah, then I'll... Yeah. You understand? Look at how you just down from that session. That's the second where you say, this is my fault. No, because even for some of the things that you said that could be a bit problematic, you put the context around it. And let's see, the age to be able to provide a statement, and to two people you want to say that.
Things are hard, especially for us in West Africa.
I love your scarf.
Things are difficult, extremely difficult. For you to survive, oh my God.
No, how is everything?